Welcome to the Transfer Ready by Succession Strength podcast. Our mission today is to really shatter this dangerous illusion. It's this belief that you, the business owner, actually get to choose your exact exit timing. Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine driving a race car, like at top speed.
Right, going way too fast.
Exactly. But there's a massive oversight. You don't have a fuel gauge. You're flying around the track. Adrenaline is pumping. And you're assuming you can always just squeeze out, one more lap.
Just one more.
Yeah. But then the engine just dies completely dead on the backstretch.
Right.
And that is exactly how most owners run their businesses when it comes to exit planning.
It is. Well, it's a massive blind spot. There's this persistent myth that you get to just pick a neat little date on a calendar to sell.
Right.
But the harsh reality we see internally is that a sudden health crisis or maybe a market shock or most commonly actually severe burnout dictates your timeline. Burnout is the ultimate silent deal killer.
It doesn't negotiate.
It does not negotiate.
Yeah.
And it certainly doesn't wait for your company to be ready.
Which, that brings to mind that manufacturing owner, the guy who spent 30 years building his company. He was always chasing, just one more equipment upgrade.
Oh, yeah. One more big contract. He kept telling himself he'd sell. Like someday.
And someday arrived in the worst possible way, didn't it?
It really did. It wasn't some gradual tapering off. I mean, literally overnight, he couldn't get out of bed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The business that had been his entire identity suddenly became this crushing weight. The thought of making even a basic operational decision was unbearable for him.
So what did he do?
He just called his broker and basically said, get me out now. I'll take whatever I can get.
See, I struggle with the idea of it being a spontaneous overnight switch. I mean, human bodies give warnings. Are owners really waking up completely depleted one day, or are they just willfully ignoring the check engine light?
Because stepping away feels like losing their identity. Well, what's fascinating here is that it's the tunnel vision required to run a company. When you are the primary engine of a business, your daily focus is entirely on survival and growth.
Right, not transitioning ownership.
Exactly. You subconsciously assume you have the exact same stamina you had 10 years ago. So the fatigue accumulates quietly in the background.
It sneaks up on you.
It does. So when the physical and mental crash finally breaches the surface, to the owner, it feels like a sudden, unannounced ambush.
And when an owner is in that desperate state, buyers spot it immediately. Here's where it gets really interesting. It's not magic. They spot it through due diligence. A frantic seller just hasn't prepared their company to run without them.
Precisely. Let's look at the financial fallout of this reactive sale. His company was generating $6 million in EBITDA.
Which is a very solid baseline.
It is. And a healthy, prepared business in his sector should have commanded a 5 times multiple of that cash flow. He should have been looking at a $30 million exit.
$30 million. But his financials were completely unprepared, right?
Right. Unprepared financials and an untested management team. Plus, the client relationships were purely personal to him.
So the buyers smelled blood.
Oh, absolutely. They offered an $18 million valuation, a multiple of just 3.
Man, that is a $12 million penalty just for waiting until he was too exhausted to fix things.
$12 million lost. And we connect this to the bigger picture. Intentional exits mean negotiating from a position of strength. You need about 2 years to build a management layer and untangle yourself.
But when you're burned out, you don't have 2 years.
No, you surrender your leverage and take their discount. Reactive exits are painful.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Do not let burnout force your hand.
Exactly.
This is why we introduced the Business Transition Readiness Assessment. You need to evaluate your readiness across leadership, clients, operations, and governance before a crisis forces a sale.
It gives you an objective baseline to fix the leaks while you still have energy. Which leaves us with this final thought. What if the single biggest threat to your company's valuation isn't the economy or your competitors, but your own physical endurance?
Visit successionstrength.com or email info@successionstrength.com to measure your exit readiness. Follow the Transfer Ready by Succession Strength podcast.